It doesn't work. Not since I was a kid. Hang it up.
Fine. My turn. Keeps getting better.
How many more bones will you crush?
Now I'm the bad guy.
She wouldn't even harm a fly.
If you want a good villain, like a really solid villain, go watch a horror movie. Over the years, the horror genre has always given us some fantastic villains. No, not you, Lep, get out of here. The genre has always given us some really good villains, but how good is the Grabber from Scott Derrickson's new film, The Black Phone? Today, on the 144th episode of Villain Review, I'll be breaking him down to find out.
I am a part-time magician. Would you like to see a magic trick?
Yeah.
This is my 144th villain review, and over the years, I've made fun of way too many villains for not having a good origin or motive. Oftentimes, not having a method to the madness makes me want to slap them with a score of like around 4 out of 10. Throw them down with like the OG Steppenwolfs, right? Where they belong. That being said, the Grabber doesn't have an origin nor a motive. But, I actually think it's a really good thing. The Grabber not having a strong background isn't just lazy writing. In fact, Scott Derrickson has gone on record saying it's intentional. This is one of the best examples of how to use a lack of origin as a good thing. Number 1, by knowing nothing about him, the Grabber is way scarier because he feels a lot more real. Like if we knew exactly how the Grabber worked, you wouldn't have people like me walking to their cars at night, double checking both directions, nunchucks in holster, ready to swing on the first side of a black balloon. Number 2, as far as background goes, it's not like there's nothing there. We get so many tiny hints about who he is and what's going on in his past, and it makes him so much more interesting. Like the fact that I don't understand him, it makes me want to understand him so much more.
I was really starting to like you, Finny. I almost let you go.
One thing that like new horror villains need to be is unique. We don't need any more of like the big silent types or killer clowns because we have like way too many of those guys. Being a new and unique killer though is something I think the Grabber really succeeds at. The Grabber's main vibe is kidnapping kids, but once he does that, not only does he want to kill them, he wants to push them through a narrative of, in his words, them being naughty boys. Why? I don't know, and the fact that we don't know makes him so much more of an interesting character. Like, I kinda want a prequel or something explaining it, but also like, I really like the mystery. I'm conflicted. Because of the narrative he wants to push on his victims, we get some really interesting sides of the Grabber when the film's main character Finney goes against that narrative. Here's the thing, I'm a huge Ethan Hawke fan, and this role only adds to that. Another thing about the Grabber that makes him unique is his mask, something that I think could have been very hit or miss. If either Ethan Hawke's performance or the mask design was slacking, I don't think this villain really would have worked at all. But since both are done so well, I think it's incredible. Ethan Hawke had a very tough task ahead of him, not being able to use his face to convey emotion like most actors do, but he pulls it off because, of course he does, he's fantastic. The mask itself conveys emotion with multiple interchangeable expressions and appearances, and it both gives the Grabber a unique appearance and makes him more creepy.
Nighty-night, naughty boy.
The Grabber isn't in the movie a whole lot, and it actually takes quite a while for him to be introduced in the film. A lot of his scenes are just him visiting Finney and just messing with him, but honestly, like, I'm not even complaining. I've talked a lot about villains having a strong presence even when they're not on screen, and as far as presence goes, I think the Grabber is one of the best villains I've reviewed. Whenever the Grabber leaves and Finney's trying to like find ways to escape, there's always a level of suspense knowing that the Grabber could open up the door at any second and catch Finney. So even when the Grabber isn't on screen, we're still thinking of him, and it adds another layer of fear to the character. When he is on screen though, I think he's fantastic. Like, don't get me wrong, he's an awful character, and I didn't want him to show up and kill Finney, but I wanted him to show up because he was entertaining. There are so many different sides to the character, and you never really know which version of the Grabber you're gonna get. You might get the one who's pretending to be friendly, you might get the one who's grumpy, or trying to like beat his ass with a belt. It's really unpredictable. One scene in particular that sits with me is when Finney begins to like walk up the stairs, and then we see the Grabber waiting for him with the frown mask. Come on, that's awesome. Besides that though, I can't really pick Grabber scenes that stand out because they all do. Whenever he's on screen, I'm scared for Finney, but I'm also loving Ethan Hawke's performance. Again, I'm conflicted. Great scenes though. Not only is kidnapping, drugging, and killing kids pretty evil, but again, it's worse because we don't know why. But even then, it's not like there's a justifiable reason for what he does. Like, it's not possible. The Grabber kills without remorse and will do whatever it takes to keep that lifestyle going, even killing his own brother. Forcing these kids into his own twisted narrative definitely makes him stand out as an evil villain. He's not just out here killing horny teens like other killers, and the fact that he targets kids definitely makes it worse. Not that other ages deserve to die more, we don't discriminate here. But honestly, if he were a villain that just killed, it might not be as bad. I think the fact that he strings these kids along and gives them hope and just treats them poorly, I think that's a lot more evil. He clearly loves what he does, and it makes him stand out not only in his actions, but how evil he is.
I know you're scared, but I'm not gonna hurt you anymore.
I think the Grabber is a great villain. He's a character who I hate and am rooting against, but that doesn't mean I don't enjoy him when he's on screen, because he's such an interesting villain. The lack of origin and motive make him a lot better in my opinion, and Ethan Hawke is fantastic in this role. The mask is really cool, his presence in the movie is insane, and his scenes are always great. I'm gonna give the Grabber an 8.5.
Try to touch me, I'll scratch your face. And whoever's coming will see and ask why.
This face?
Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think of the Grabber in the comments below, as well as who I should review next. I make a new villain review every single Monday. Look at that one, look at that one. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss a single one. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Gus review at 10,000. Peace out.